elections, everything is good. Mandela was an excellent leader. And so now look, you have all these kids that have now not gone to school and don't have a way of supporting themselves. You have those who are in exile. I mean, the Americans treated our refugees so well. They educated them and everything. So did Britain, so did Russia, so did Cuba, I mean, many countries. So you have the exiles coming back home and then getting the good jobs. And then those who were fighting for freedom first, they kind of ended up somewhere. So South Africa's struggle is I mean, it's got so many levels. If the government had paid more attention to educating the ones that had fallen out of the way, South Africa would be in a better position. So we were going through all that, and the establishment of the Truth and Reconciliation in South Africa was something that Nelson Mandela really felt, so good about, because, he did not want an eye for an eye. Violence begets violence. So, okay, now I'm out of prison, let's kill all the white people. No, that's not the way he wanted. But there was a way that we could look into our past and see where we went wrong and how we could heal the wounds of the past. There were so many people who disappeared. I mean, when I was in Swaziland, someone was shot and killed. A South African refugee was shot and killed maybe 2 doors away from me, and the whole place was just bloody because there were infiltrators who would give the South African government the information about which refugee is where. But some of the people just disappeared, and you never knew wherever they went. And so part of the Truth and Reconciliation was also parents going in and saying, oh, relatives going in and say, so and so, this is the picture. Who knows what happened? And then people could come to the table and say, yeah, I know that story. This is what happened. This is who killed him or killed her. And, and so the families could have closure, because that's, in our culture, that's very important, to have that closure. So they would know what happened, and then they could continue to live their lives. So it was a very effective thing. It was not good at some point, because some people really wanted something to be done to those who had harmed others. But that's what we were trying to get away from, because I know had we gone a different way, our freedom would have been tainted with so much blood. So at some point, Archbishop Desmond Tutu was someone who was working very hard on that and very involved, and there were times when he condemned the ANC, and there were many people who were upset with him in the ANC, but I agreed with him. If it's truth and reconciliation, let everybody who has done something wrong, whether the ANC or the minority government, own up to it. It's not about just making the ANC look good and other people to look bad, which kind of leads me on to what I see here in America as coming with, like I said, different lenses. My husband is white, and he's from Colorado. We have 2 biracial kids. If we live up north in Michigan, they're allowed to call themselves biracial. But in the South, they're told they're black. If we go to South Africa, if they call themselves black, the people will say, "Are you crazy? You're colored." So I look at life through a different lens. I don't wake up in the morning and say, oh, my husband is white. I don't. I see him as an individual. I look at my 2 kids. I don't say, oh, my 2 kids are biracial. And the problems we have in the house are not because he's white. Maybe he's not pulling enough side on his chores. So it's not a matter of black and white, but it is, just how human beings are made. So I have these different lenses that I look at things through. So when I am a part-time chaplain at MUFC, and as chaplains we are part of the trauma team, which means that if there is a trauma in the ER, we get paged and we have to go there right away. So we're standing alongside with the doctors and everybody that's right there, the pharmacists, the techs and all that, nurses and all stuff down there. And on the night of the Mother Emanuel massacre, I was on call at the hospital. So one of my colleagues paged me because I was working at the other hospital and said, I needed to come to the ER right away. He didn't say why. So as I was crossing the street, I saw all these police cars, and I knew something very bad had happened. So when I got there and he told me, there has been a shooting at Mother Emanuel. I think some of the people are dead, but we can't say anything to the families because it has not been confirmed. So if you start telling people 9 people are dead, there were more than 9 people around the church, and we don't know what, all the information. So you'd have people coming and saying, is my relative? Oh, I don't know. So we just told, as the families were coming in, and we just told them that we didn't have any information. We know that there was a shooting. We don't know who died, and that's all. So it's just, being there, just, you see, raw pain. I mean, I don't want to experience that again. I really don't want to experience that again. Seeing people crying, and now we're not sure if the shooter is still in the area or anything like that. It was just a very difficult thing. And then 2 days later, we find out that the shooter belonged to my sister congregation in Columbia. So we're all Lutherans. We meet once a year in wherever for our yearly meeting, and he's from the church right in my synod. And so the thing, how do you respond to that? You are black, and you know that he hates black people, but he's also a Lutheran. He's part of your community. And this past June, MUSC had a 1-year anniversary, and I was asked to participate in the memorial service and to read the names of the people that had been killed. And so what I said before reading the names was, it was really an honor for me to be asked to do that, to lift up those whom the shooter had put down. And that as a Lutheran, I was undoing the evil that one Lutheran had done. And so some of the things that we did following the shooting last year was to find ways of talking about race and reconciliation. And we held a time together at St. Matthew's where we invited people from our local churches and the community. We watched the movie Selma, and then we talked about what we as Christians hear God calling us to do. What are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to just sit back and watch? And I was doing also campus ministry at the College of Charleston, so we also there did another race and reconciliation thing. About 55 students were there, and we wanted the students to be the table leaders as we talked about race. And we had about maybe 15 or more people from the community. Some of them were professors. So we have all these people, a very nice, nicely distributed group, you know, very, very mixed group. And at the end of that session, there was a question we asked people. They didn't have to answer it. That now that you've participated in this event, how will your life change? And this one African American young lady said, you know, I've been waking up every day angry at white people for white privilege, and you know, here I'm struggling and doesn't seem like nobody cares. But she said, when I wake up tomorrow, I won't be as angry because I've met white people and people of other races tonight who are just as concerned about my plight, and they are fighting for justice. So I see that as part of reconciliation. And see, the biggest struggle in our community in America is, you know, we have tribalism in South Africa, but America has Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Green Party or anything, where people just draw lines. That even if you know that your candidate is wrong on something, but just because they're from your political party, you cannot part ways with them. That will not bring reconciliation. Because you got to stand up. There was when I was in Michigan, Flint, Michigan, as a pastor there was this lady.